wherever it last was, it doesn't matter which one I go to because I was on U, it's still going to change U. So let's go, if I wanted to change Y here, I actually have to select it, and at that point I can use this. It's a little bit of a flaw in the program. I promise you this program is not perfect. So I am going to come back here and make sure that let's go back to red on that. Come over to U. Okay, and so I want this color. Oh, see, I just did exactly what I told you not to do. And let's come back here. I promise it's not that confusing. Select here. So we have the letter U. I want to get that the exact color. Okay. So now we have got that, but I want to make it move. I want to make it pop. So I want to set up a scene that has multiple steps. So I'm going to come up here to our step area, and this is going to set the duration of that step. And if I click this button, what it does is copies the current step that we have and gives us a second one. This button will scroll through the different steps. I'm clicking this. This is doing absolutely nothing. That's because there's two steps, but they're exactly the same. So what I want to do is come into the second step and actually start programming that. So I'm going to go to that outer one and the other one. So let's go here and that. So now I have two steps. So if I step back and forth, look at that, fancy, fancy. Okay, so I want to go to the end of this. I want to go to the second step and click insert step, because if I go to the step 1 and click insert step, it's actually going to give me two of these. So I'm going in consecutive order because I want my lights to all light up that bluish color so it has a little bit of movement. Alright, so I'm at the second step. I'm going to click insert step. Here again we got a third step, and alright, so I'm going to change the inner two lights. Come over here and let's see what we got. Alright, now if I click through these steps, you can see boop boop, they do that. Now there's a play button right over here. I can click play at any time. We can watch that back. Wow. But I'm noticing that I want them to actually be a lot faster. So that's showing us the current duration of the whole scene. This actually is the time for that current step. So we're going to go in here and we're actually going to click 0, and then I'm going to go 0.3. So these are very quick steps. 0.3, and then our last step 0, and you guessed it, 0.3. Now I'm going to hit click play. You can see that's moving really fast. But I want, at the end of this, I want it actually to just go all red. So what we're going to do is boop, 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 come to the third step, insert a step, and then I'm going to hit Q to select them all, and actually go to, and so it's all selected now. Now when I hit play, oh my goodness, look what we've done. Woo! So there you go. That's kind of a basic programming. Here again, we're going to go into this and do, I'm just going to make up a name, moving red, blue, red, blue, which as you make these, you'll just kind of have to go through and figure out what the best name for it is. If I click save, here again, unclick 3D, go to the user screen, click on that 3D so we can see it over here, go down to this creation area. I don't love that. I don't know why they made it that way, but here, click on it. Here again, there's our scene. We can go back to our red scene if we like, and we have created a scene that's very beautiful. Alright, I'm going to go back to the builder. So as you're doing this, you can change the steps, the amount of steps. You can do 100 steps in there if you'd like. Now, one of the things I didn't show you is this little thing right down here, and this actually has an effect. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to press this button. This is going to give me an empty scene, and this takes us back to 0. Nothing's programmed, one step. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit Q again, and I'm just going to give you a quick view of what this does without programming it forever. And I got to turn this up so the dimmer is on so we know it's there. And I'm going to actually, now that they're all selected, you see this? I've got this kind of slant, and what that describes is the space between each step, and I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to go ahead and select all of these. So there's a slant there in all three of the colors. You don't really need it on the dimmer because we don't really use the dimmer much. So I'm going to go ahead and insert another scene, and I'm going to change the color to blue. It doesn't matter. And now you'll notice when I hit play, the lights kind of fade into each other. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to give it a longer, so you can really see what's happening there. Okay, so I'll hit play, and there you can see it's kind of fading into the color. What it does is it goes through the colors to get to that point, and that slant, actually, because we don't have this little kind of ridge, which that ridge says I'm going to wait 0.3 seconds, or I'm going to wait 6 seconds. So let's go ahead and change that so I can show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to hit stop. I'm going to come to this first scene. I'm going to make these here, and now I'm going to hit play, and you'll notice it's going to wait. You see the counter, it's going to count up to 6 seconds, and then it'll change right on the 6. So there you can get a little bit of just just makes it look very nice. Like if you wanted a setting, sometimes what I like to do is say that Pastor Matt is up on the stage and I wanted to program a setting that's kind of moving lights, but I want to put it over 40 seconds. And so when I do that, just you don't notice it, but over time you might look up and go, oh wait, that's blue now. It's just kind of a cool thing to do. So we'll go back and put the slant in, and we can see what it does. Now, what's neat about this is you can do that. What's hard about it is if you do a 40-second setting, let's just try it. And it might not show up here on this 3D screen, but if we did a 40-second setting, it would take 40 seconds. Now, sometimes on that user screen, this is a thing you have to be careful on. When you would click it on the user screen, let's get it to go over here, and we're going to hit test 1, and then we're going to save that. Oh, there's somebody already existing named test 1, so we'll call it test 10. Okay. Come over here. We're going to add, make sure I turn off this 3D so we don't get confused on what's happening. We'll come down here, test 10. Let me get this out of the way. We turn on the DMX. Not the DMX, sorry, 3D. And you'll notice when I click it, now when I go into it, it actually is going to fade in that way. It's going to take 40 seconds to fade in. So if there's a scene where you're wanting to get really quick into it, you don't want to have a 40-second and then that slant to be in there because it's going to take that long to come up. Now this is really only going to be an issue when you're perhaps doing dramas and stuff like that, which will be awesome. When I've done dramas before, I've made this mistake and it's taken forever to come up because I've done it with the house lights. And so they're kind of sitting around waiting like, what's going on here? So you want to be careful of that, but that kind of gives you an idea of some of the programming techniques. You can mix these all together. You can do all sorts of things with that. That'll help you. Now, our next tutorial is actually an advanced one, and it will deal with our intelligent lights, and which are really, at the end of the day, one of my favorite things to play with. But I will tell you, it is a time sucker. You will be sitting programming for a while, because it does take a while. Well, thanks again, and I hope to see you on the next tutorial.